Congratulations, Nina, on the publication of your second novel, Layla, which has been called A Test of the D'Urbervilles for Our Time. The book deals with some fairly tough and challenging themes, and the character of Layla is not always likeable. What drew you to write about her?
I think it's always... I really like writing about challenging issues. I like to challenge the reader, and I like to challenge myself when I write. So I think it's important also to give a voice to people that might not appear often in contemporary fiction. So she's from a working class background, she's not very well educated, and she's not always likeable, but I think that's part of the challenge that I set myself, that by the end of the novel I really want readers to kind of be rooting for her, even though at the beginning she's quite tough, but of course she's not as tough as she appears, and the reader learns this as the story goes on. So yeah.
And the narrative voice in Layla is really compelling. What made you decide to write the novel in the second person?
It's really funny because when writers say that things just happen organically and naturally, you will think, really? But it just seemed the right voice for her. She's a lap dancer, she's a young mother that's parted from her son. She's not comfortable in her skin. So I felt like she was kind of alienated from her inner self, and it just seemed the right voice to reflect that feeling of alienation. And I like writing in a kind of experimental way, so I was drawn to the voice. And I should say I was really influenced by Bright Lights Big City, which is about, similarly, is written in a second person narrative, and it's also about someone who's not comfortable in their skin and who's alienated from their self, from their community. But I have to say Layla is, she's a very different social strata, she's a very different character. But yeah, so I was really influenced by that, and it just seemed right, it just seemed natural, that she would be trying to G herself up and talk to herself. And also I think that voice draws the reader in. I think it really brings the reader, carries the reader along with the protagonist's experience. So that was why, and hopefully it works. Yeah.
Yes, it does. Nina, do you have any tips for aspiring writers?
Yeah, I think there's so many tips around, aren't there? And I think what's worked for me is to kind of take on the ones that mean something to you and kind of just let the other ones be filtered out, because I think finding your own voice and finding your own way is really important, and that's what I've tried to do, to try and kind of stand out from the crowd, really, because there's so much new writing about. The other thing that really worked for me was at the beginning of my career, was to enter a competition, Myriad's Westdean writing competition, which I didn't win, but I was shortlisted, and that really built up my confidence. And I think sort of writers can suffer from a lack of confidence quite often, so I think it's a really good thing to do that, and to get your work out there and recognised by industry professionals is a really useful thing to do. And just to keep plugging away, I guess, just keep going and keep going, and learn how to take rejection, because you need to be quite thick-skinned, I think, and keep going, keep plugging away, and you'll get there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.